Hi, Faydra Shantel here with Mr. Man himself, Kaelin Patterson, and he is getting ready for some big stuff going on here. So I'm here with Custom Body Shop and Mr. Midwest Muscle over here. So Kaelin, so how do you like not being behind the mic, being the interviewer?
It's different, and I just it's so weird to have like somebody that has that kind of passion and interest like you do, and you wanted to come down and see what's going on with Midwest Muscle and what's basically happened with bodybuilding as a whole in general, because you have so much going on. And I'm not going to be the interview. Yeah, yeah. So this is my time. I'm going to give this back because it's kind of weird. I just I'm thankful for what's happening with natural bodybuilding, and I'm happy the direction it's going because people are learning more and getting healthier and more fit instead of just wanting to step on stage. They're actually being good with people, being good with life, and being good with their families.
Absolutely. And you have a lot going on. We want to kind of get a start with you. So we're going to bring it back, bring it way back.
Okay.
So we're going to get to know Kaelin a little bit. So first off, where were you born and raised?
I'm actually a product of Illinois. I was born and raised in DuQuoin, Southern Illinois. Most of my family is down from Carbondale, SIU. Big shout out to Salukis. And just so many loving people. Country, the country is all get out. Grew up in the city, so, kind of a mix of both. Did a lot of moving because my dad was a cop and he was changed around a lot from, being a state police officer. He had moved from place to place. And he was the reason that I was always sports and martial arts stuff. Bodybuilding came later. He was more the one that got me into it. Yeah.
Very, very cool. So since all that moving around, what would you say is your most memorable childhood memory?
My most favorite childhood memory is basically a juxtaposition of a whole bunch of family, a whole bunch of, because with that much moving, there's a lot of doubt. There's always questions and concerns. Will they fit in? Will I fit in? So, family was always there to support, and that's a big thing. We speak about that a lot. You got to have a good support group. I had that in spades with my family because they were always there. Cousins were like brothers, sisters. We were never distant. It was always, when we got together, it was a mesh because we were always interacting with each other growing up, because the people that were in Chicago weren't Chicago, they were family. The person that was in Southern Illinois wasn't Southern Illinois, they were family. Everybody was coming together as a unit.
Oh, very nice. So obviously family is very important for
Yes.
you. Okay, so moving ahead a little bit, give me a little bit, so a lot of people know how you are now, okay? We see you giving the interviews, you're very, strong, not just in size and looks, but just your passion and who you are. So in your teenage years, give me three, let's think about 3 words that describe you, and only 3 words. That I know it's going to be rough, but
Okay.
3 words only to describe how you were as a adolescent and teenager.
Okay, 3. Quiet, introverted, and sports.
Wow, that is a quite opposite. And so that's how. So what was the changing point that you feel over all these years that got you past those 3? Because you're still, I would say, you're on the sidelines and you still like to let other people shine. However, you're not as much introverted anymore. So what got you over that changing line?
Well, the part that got me over the introvert was my aunt basically telling me that I was boring.
Okay, all right. Well, that's awesome. Good, go aunt, right?
Yes.
Always good to have that kind of family.
Yes.
Okay, so now that we got a little bit about your past, when did you know? So you had said that your father was the one that, kind of pressed you into the fitness and that kind of lifestyle sports. And I get that because my dad, I remember the magazines and seeing the bodybuilding, all that. Was it ever in your mind that that's what you wanted to do, that you wanted to get your physique going, do competitions? Is that something that was inside, or you just wanted to work out?
Well, I was always, like I said, my dad gave me a choice. He said either you work or you get involved in sports, but you're not going to sit around and do nothing. And he was real big on that. You're going to be active. I didn't raise vegetables. We'll get that in the garden. So everything was about doing something, and he was always pushing to be better. And he's like, you good, you read, you're good in school. Why don't you challenge your body like you challenge your mind? And I was like, well, that kind of makes sense. So, basketball, baseball, volleyball, any sport I could do, it was basically year round. I, for me, I was real nervous because I could see people that were like getting real big real quick, and they were my age, and I just couldn't understand how that was happening. And that's when I was introduced to steroids, where it's like, oh, and so for me, bodybuilding kind of got a back seat because for me, it was an equation of if you're doing steroids, then that's what makes you want to lift weights. So I kind of disassociated with it, and I got more involved in the martial arts.
Okay.
And so the fitness I did was basically push-ups, sit-ups, the basically like the Billy Blank's PX90 kind of stuff, where it was like a whole bunch of things, but nothing involving real weightlifting, I guess the best way to say it. So my background comes more from the cardio martial arts background, not really the weightlifting.
Okay. Well, very cool. And so when did you do your first competition?
That was care of Kimmy Arnone and Mike Newman. And Mike, God bless him, he said, you love helping out, you love doing all these things. And, people might be able to listen to you a little bit better if you actually walked in their shoes. And who can argue with that? It's like I played basketball, and I would always say to all the critics, what do you know? You haven't been there, with the twisted ankle and you're still playing through it. You haven't been there with the sprained knee and you haven't been through that kind of pain and still give your best. Because on your best day, you look good. But on your worst day, can you still do your best? When he challenged me to that, and Dave Yates also, had asked the question, like, what is it about you loving to lift and not wanting to actually show people what lifting can end up looking like? When you're challenged with that, either you step back and say, well, I quit, or you step up and say, that's a good point, and it's a challenge, I accept it. And I'm sure because I've seen you do your thing. I really wanted to be better for others to get better. And like you said, you don't help people by staying the same. You help them by improving so they can fill the space that you standing in. That's what I wanted.
That's amazing. And, for the past few years, knowing you, definitely, I've seen you on stage. You've come a long way. And as you probably agree, every competition and every show that you do, you're building yourself and you're changing yourself and you're learning something new. So it's a learning experience for you as well as for other people. You're behind the camera. You're interviewing many, many people all the time. And so us as an audience get a really great view of all the different aspects and where people come from and how they do. So for you to come out now and kind of give us your story and see what you've been through is amazing. And so people are, once again, are just going to learn some more about what your background is and what you do. You have done, I remember last year, I think you did like a show, it seemed like every other month. So how many shows to this day? You started, was this on 2010, 2011 you started? So how many competitions have you done since the beginning?
It's got to be at least 13. And, the person I was introduced to that really just blew me away was Ed Castillo, the ambassador.
Absolutely.
Ed just has that energy and just that vibe and just that persona that just says love, freedom, and enjoyment. And he was on his 13th or 14th show that year.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. And then he's telling me his age, and I'm like, wow. So I'm thinking, if this man can do this and have that kind of energy, because, I was used to the people, oh, I hated this, and, you're seeing the comments, and it's so hard and it's so rough. And this guy's saying he's loving every minute of it. And he's going to the gym, and he's busting his butt. And even, when you're after prejudging, and he's going just to get a little pump up before the night show, and he's still got that energy.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, well, that's me. I don't have to feel bad for still having energy and not wanting to do anything. I'm going. It's funny because like Saturday night, everybody else is finishing the show and having the big meal, and I'm thinking about how do I get to the gym Sunday, and get through the soreness of the posing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So so that's. That's pretty amazing because I know like during competitions, like the last thing I want to do the next day is go to the gym. But that kind of drive and that kind of passion for this sport and this industry is, um, it's remarkable that you have this. And I think that's what definitely, you have so many people coming in and you don't just do the competitions, you live the lifestyle. And that I think is a truly important thing for individuals, just to know that this isn't just like a fly-by-night thing for you. You're actually going out there to improve yourself and also impact others in their lifestyle. So with that, what is your favorite part? I mean, being on stage is wonderful and everything, but what is your favorite part of the whole process of prepping and being in the competition?
This might sound a little bit goofy, but it's true in how I see it, because everybody's got their own reason and their own why. I think Monica Brandt had said it best when she said everybody's got a why. My why is who gets built up with my work. Who do you bring up? Who are you helping by doing what you do? Because we all have a drive and a passion. And, it could be cars, it could be, airplane, it could be computers. There's so many people we know that's so diverse, but mine just happen to be health and fitness. But if it's true health and fitness, the stage is basically a byproduct of what you're doing. We have a life that we love, and it's giving. And if you're healthy and you're fit, you can give more. And the whole point in me being healthy and fit is to show other people that it's okay to have a life and live it. Because so many people are at home and they're tired, they get off work and they're done. The kids are overlooked. You have a wife or a husband when you get home and you're tired and you're done, and they're overlooked. If you're healthy and fit, you still got that energy, you still got that drive, so you still get to share. And if you're doing an outreach in that, you're basically expounding on everything changes when you can say there's so much more than what I'm doing right now.
Right.
And like you said, when stage is basically, it's a great thing, it's a great time, God knows. But the whole point should be in healthy and fit. And then you can give to everybody, because you cover so much range in what you do, and then there's so much more, and it's like I'm wondering how the heck does she find the time? And then people are saying the same thing. Even Gina, when she's doing her thing, she's just going crazy and just having a fun time, and she's got college, she's got jobs, she's got family. Everybody's finding that time and making more time, but we still only got 24 hours. If you got a life that's healthy and fit, you can do it. If you're burnt out from burning the candle at both ends, then you don't have that time, and family, friends, loved ones are left behind.
Yeah, and that's very true, and that's something too that viewers should know in prepping for anything. When you have a goal, this is not just like I'm going to work out and do this thing. It's very tedious, and it's specific, and you have to give a lot of time, and that balance is important, and it's very hard to do.
Yes.
And I think in having a full-time job, having kids, there's so many women and men that have families, and it's true. It's because it is a very personable, like one-sided sport. It's all about you, and it's the way you look. You're looking at yourself constantly. It's your food, your exercise, and it is all about you for this 4 to 6 months, however long that you do this, and then you get on stage and it's just like over. But it doesn't have to be, because like you said, if this is just part of your lifestyle and you're fit, then it's just superseding that. It's making what you already do just that much bigger.
Yes.
And have a goal.
Yes.
So we're here at 5-Star Fitness, and so this is kind of your home away from home.
Yes.
And you're here a lot, and it's a fantastic place, and they're lucky to have you and all your energy here. So what do you have coming up in the very near future, like maybe a couple more weeks? I think we've got some stuff. Let's talk about now that you're present. We found out some about your past, so let's talk about now what you got going on in the present and the future with yourself, because you're looking amazing. I can see the changes from this, the next stuff you got going on from last year. You've completely remolded yourself into a different physique, so give us some insight.
Well, I'm working with Team Flex. Flex, my boy, and he's just the man. And he's always, like when I was at my worst, he never let me get to just down and dirty where it was just giving up. And you got to have people in your corner like that, and then in Team Flex, there's just so many of us that just make sure. Jenny Whipple, she's always there.
Yeah,
She's the heart and drive. And everybody in 5-star, I really hope people understand when you have a good gym home, it's so much more that you can do because there's that support that happens. Even when you're not even seeing it, they can address something that's missing. And they, like Joe, God bless him, he's got the Chi-Town Showdown, and he's always saying, hey, you could do this. If you did this, and you'd be a little bit better. And he's not saying, I need you to do this, because it's not that kind of pressure.
Right.
It's basically, you're not going to win my show if you don't step on there and represent. I don't care how much I know you. So, that's what you want. You want that kick in the butt. You need that. And with the DeKalb Spring Naturals coming up, it's like so much of 5-star is going to be representing that, but there's so many other gyms that are representing, and it's good to have that support group where, I got your back, and when you do a show, I got your back, and when you do a show, I got your back. Because you figure, Brian McCabe has the PNBA Illinois State, and Ed Castillo's going to be at that one, so that's going to be a nice one. And
where is that one? That's the one on the 9th.
That's the 27th.
The 27th.
A Sunday show. Yeah. Because I had to ask him. I was like, Brian, you sure about that Sunday? He's like, yes, it's a Sunday show. And I was like, wow, that's different. But he's respecting the other organizations.
Right.
He's respecting the other shows where he's not stepping on toes and saying, well, I don't care if you're doing this show that day, I'm going to do mine too.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing for him is like, I want people to be able to compete. And for the people that might not be ready for a Saturday because of family, they can do a Sunday show.
Right.
And I think that's much respect to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the DeKalb Spring Naturals. That's coming up in 2 weeks on the 19th, right?
On the 19th.
And that's in DeKalb. And where is that at? And what
That's
time?
the Egyptian Theater. I think it starts at
Northern,
11.
right?
Yeah. By NIU out of Pittsburgh, Ray Binkowski.
Right.
And now this guy loves his competitors because the way he treats them and the people that come back let you know he's doing something right, because you don't get return competitors if you're not treating them right. And I mean, the expediters aren't ripping your head off. You're not, being shuttled around like a piece of meat. Everything he's doing is basically to improve on the sport, and now we got the NAMBF doing the seminars, which I think is bringing it up, and you got the DFAC doing seminars as well, because, I've been covering those.
Yeah.
And the people that have been competing are still learning. Absolutely. And I was like, well, that's what it's all about.
It is.
So, when we're doing what we're doing, it's nice to see it growing the way it is.
Yeah, and it's great. And so, especially now, I think a lot of people, the whole phenomenon with the natural and being in these organizations, that really they testing and they're adamant about making sure that everyone that's coming in is legit and putting in that work. And if you're not going to put in that work, then it's going to be seen and it's going to be felt on stage. So it's great that they're really making a big deal about the testing and things now.
Yes.
So we've got that one, and then we have the one like you were talking about, the 27th with Brian McCabe. I've seen his girls over at Hi-Fi in the city, and the men that he's been coaching as well. And Brian's been doing a great job with that.
Yes.
Absolutely, and we have the posters in over there. So that's the 27th, but there's also one in May, which is the Chi-Town Showdown. Yeah, and so you're also doing that one.
Yes.
So give us a little bit. So where is that held? And give us some info on that.
That's going to be at the Bolingbrook High School. They've been real good to Joe and Heather, I mean,
But
Joe.
those are great people,
Yeah. Joe's been doing his thing, making sure the shows are tight, and he basically made people step their game up with how they take care of the competitors. And I'm just so thankful. I am so thankful that this area, because we've got so many competitors. And I know there's so many competitors in this area. God bless St. Louis, God bless Missouri, God bless Kansas for doing what they do with natural competitors. But it's so many people that travel. And now Iowa's stepping up because, Ed and Andrea have been, they got shows coming up. I'm going to be doing that one too.
Nice.
And it seems like everybody says, they're not jumping on the bandwagon. They say, I can help out too. There's a difference between bandwagon jumping and saying I could add more to this, and that's what I like what they're doing, where they're bringing their idea of what makes a show better. And so when they're doing that, you can't help but want to support that. And like I said, Joe and Heather have been so good with how they introduce the show, how they get the show going. I think Gina did that show too. Yeah, and she did all had a wonderful time. And, Jason Hurst is doing his thing with Nutrition Direct, helping them out. So the sponsors are there. There's nothing left out of that show where you find like you're wanting.
Right.
And, you've been backstage, so you've seen how it is. It can be crazy.
It can.
Yeah, and it basically brings life where the people aren't down and nervous and scared. You've got all the questions answered before you even hit stage.
Which is very important because it is. I mean, the only thing a competitor should be worried about is themselves and getting on the stage. And the more that everything's set, and yes, there's rules set backstage and you're supposed to be where you're supposed to be. And the more that that's taken care of, the less stress I think us as competitors have because you just have to be there.
Yes.
And you have to do it instead of, like you said, being shipped around and whatever. So that's really important. It's good, I've met Ed and Andrea and Joe and Jason doing his thing and all those people. I think it's such a pleasure getting to know all of them, and which is one of the best things about competing is definitely the connections you make with individuals and meeting special people like Kaelin and being able to just represent such a great industry. Midwest, absolutely. So it's fantastic, and I'm so proud of what you're doing and what you've done, and all the things like that you're putting yourself out there and working so hard for yourself, but also handling what you're going on in life, because gym is one thing, but then you have to also deal with your own personal stuff that you're going through. So I'm really, really, truly proud of you and everything, and I wish you so much success, and I'm so happy that we got to chat today. And I will be there cheering you on. So we're gonna do some interviews at your shows again.
Yes.
You get to see you all oiled up and ready for stage. Very excited to do that one.
I'll never get used to that. I'll never get used to that. Having to shave these legs, that's different.
Yeah,
different.
absolutely. But you know what? It's all part of the process. Getting all primped and you now know how it is to be a woman.
Yeah.
Having to do all that
the
stuff.
Long hair, whatever.
Exactly. So, I want to thank 5 Star Fitness and thank you, Kaelin,
they
so
have
much.
made me more than welcome here, and they made any pro, any competitor that wants to come in here is always a blessing.
Yeah.
They make the time, they make the space, they make the availability, and 5 Star, God bless them, they just made it so welcome because, it's so many people that are naysayers and haters. You get them.
Right, of course.
If you do anything right, you're going to get people that want wrong to happen.
Absolutely.
It's not happening here, and it's just a loving family. It's a fit fam for a reason.
Yeah.
Because we're all positive people, and some people have questions about where they're going, and they can get back in alignment. I don't want to say out of line. I don't want to say they're doing anything wrong, but they might be slipping a little.
Right.
And just get knocked back into place to where it's an understanding that you can be okay. It's going to be all right.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad that you found this place and it found you.
Amen.
And it's been great chatting with you. So go get them.
You
I know. It's fantastic. So Faydra Shantel with Custom Body Shop. We have Kaelin here with Midwest Muscle, not behind the mic today, doing the interview.
Weird.
Thank you, 5 Star, once again for having us here. And you have a wonderful day. Thank you.
We are out.